Hey, what's going on, Ring Psychology Legion and pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the sixth episode of the most swagged out pro wrestling podcast on social media, as you have now once again entered Ring Psychology. We're going to do things a little bit different here today. Of course, as always, I am your host with the most flavor, George Kennebrew, aka Two Live Brew. The reason why I say we're going to do things different today, because today I'm going to be flying solo because my tag team partner, Dre Cole, as you all have come to love and know, will not be on this episode today. He is away on professional business, but we will reconvene and he will rejoin me for next week's episode. But that's okay because we're still going to have a good time. Um, we're still going to talk professional wrestling, of course. And today's topic is going to be really, really good as we will be reviewing WWE Night of Champions as well as AEW's Double or Nothing, which were two really good events that happened this past weekend. There were some very memorable moments. Some new champions were crowned. Um, we got to say, I guess it's safe to say, um, we had some truths that were revealed to us that we had been skeptical about. So we're going to cover all of that right here and now on the sixth edition of Ring Psychology. Um, Want to let everybody know before I get started, don't forget to like and follow Ring Psychology on Facebook. Um, our viewership as well as our followers are growing day by day, week by week. We got some content up on the website right now. As a matter of fact, um, there were some highlights from AEW Double or Nothing 2023, as well as Night of Champions. So it's content on the Facebook page. So, like I said, follow us, like the page, and go check out some of the highlights that were recently put up on the Facebook page. Just had to make that clear to everybody. Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and cut right to the chase. So I'm going to start off with WWE Night of Champions first because AEW's Double or Nothing was a little bit longer, and the card too was a little bit longer than WWE Night of Champions. So, first things first, the thing that everybody's talking about the most from Night of Champions is there's a new World Heavyweight Champion that was crowned. Seth freaking Rollins did it, beat AJ Styles in what was a classic. Um, what year am I thinking of? A classic 2015 WWE match. I can't really say old school because these guys are not old school, but if I could think back of when matches were this good, I would say it was around that 2015 16 era when people like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley, and just all of these stars that we've come to love today were really just making their name in the company. And to me, in terms of present day, that was probably the best era, besides, of course, the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era that I really, really enjoyed with WWE. So this type of match between AJ and Seth, really brought back those memories. And just to see Seth Rollins win another world championship, I mean, He wasn't lying in that promo that he cut a few weeks back when he said, he's at the top of his game and he feels like nobody can touch him inside the squared circle. And he's right. He proved it. You know, he took AJ's best shots. Um, they really had the crowd emotionally invested into it. Um, it was a back and forth affair. It seemed like AJ was going to actually walk away with the championship there. Um, they basically had us on the edge of our seat the whole entire time. And what made it even more special, it was the opening contest of the event. So for it to be the opener and for it to be as wonderful as it was, like that was very, very smart on Triple H's part. So round of applause to Triple H, round of applause to Seth Rollins and AJ Styles for coming out hot right out the gate with that incredible match. And to be honest with you, I know the brand split has happened for like the umpteenth time, but somewhere very, very soon, maybe 2024, I would love to see AJ and Seth go at it again for the world heavyweight title because those two guys, they just have magical chemistry in the ring together. Like I could watch those guys wrestle 5,000 times and would not get bored because I know I'm going to see something exciting and I know I'm going to see something new. So salute to both of those brothers, man. Like they definitely did the damn thing this past weekend. Now, in terms of the aftermath and the future of these two, well, obviously we know with Seth, he's going to make a great world champion. Um, Seth has always had a reputation whenever he's held a world championship throughout the history of WWE as being a fighting champion, taking on all contenders from everywhere. So I think as far as this world heavyweight championship having a foundation of, you know, credibility and prestige, I think that's something that us as fans won't have to worry about because if there's anybody that you can trust within WWE to make a championship prestigious and hold it with honor, you could definitely say that about Seth Rollins. So I think we're going to see some great world title matches from him. Um, I just can't wait to see who the next contender is going to be because I already know the next contender and that feud in general is going to be absolutely spectacular. So we're in for a nice little reign with Seth, and Seth is definitely going to make it worth our while. I think if Saturday showed us anything, I think we have a lot to be excited about going forward as far as Seth being the world heavyweight champion and it being exclusive to Raw. So there you go. Um, as far as AJ Styles is concerned, if you ask me, if I had the pin right now, so to speak, and if I was Triple H, I would say, I mean, I know for some people it might be a little bit too fast because he just came off this wonderful world title match. But I'd say you put AJ right in the mix of Money in the Bank. You know, I mean, hell, I wouldn't even mind him winning it because I mean, just look at the recent years that AJ's been in Money in the Bank. I mean, he's made it, must watch. So I definitely feel like, you shouldn't just completely make AJ start from the bottom back to the top. I think you should keep him where he is, but Continue this momentum, even though it's in a loss. Keep this momentum going. Put him in the Money in the Bank. Let him, earn a shot, or at least give him a chance to win that briefcase. Because I think an AJ Money in the Bank win, I think that would be very, very interesting. So that's what I think. Short and sweet. It's really not a lot to break down about that. You know, the only thing is whether WWE will make that move. I say they should, but of course, I don't work for that organization, so I can only give my opinion. But yeah, I definitely feel like AJ, especially coming off a performance like he did this past weekend, I think he definitely deserves to at least be in a Money in the Bank qualifier, if not win the qualifying match to get into the Money in the Bank match itself. So that's just how I feel about that. All right, going on to the next match, we had Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch in a grudge match, and I really enjoyed this match. Um, I think just in terms of non-title women's matches, I think this was one of the better ones that I've seen so far this year. Um, and I definitely like the finish as well. I think Trish winning the way that she did definitely leaves some intrigue going forward. I think it opens up um, a plethora of other situations and scenarios or what have you. I'm not saying it wouldn't have done the same thing with Becky, but I just think that, Trish Stratus getting the win here, um, I just think that it leaves a lot of space for some really good creative television on WWE. And I think if they keep going in the direction that they're going with Becky and Trish, I think this could be one of the better rivalries in WWE of 2023. That's just my personal opinion. But we'll see what happens going forward. But I mean, basically, it was a fight. That's what Becky wanted coming into the match. She wanted to fight Trish because, she has a score to settle or what have you. And that's pretty much what they did. Um, of course, we know what happened at the end, which was a pleasant surprise. Like, that was a massive curveball and swerve WWE threw at us, which was excellent. You know, I always love it when they go to the unpredictable route. We need more of that. But yeah, they definitely hit a home run here with the ending of Zoe Stark getting involved and hitting her finishing maneuver on Becky on the outside, coming from underneath the ring on top of that. And, she helps Trish get the pinfall, and we're off to the races. And I don't know about y'all, but if you're telling me that as a result of Zoe Stark getting involved in this match, that it's going to lead to a Stark versus Lynch match on a Monday Night Raw or either like a PLE, give it to me. Give me all of that. Yeah, I want all of that smoke. So it's going to get spicy, as the younger people would say. It's gonna get real spicy these next couple of weeks. So that's why I said, man, you know, if Becky would have won, like, I'm not saying this story would have lost any of its momentum, but I think it gives it that much more sizzle with Trish winning. And then on top of that, having a young up and coming talent from NXT like Zoe. Like think about the scenario here, people. Like this woman Zoe Stark literally just came to Raw like what, 2 3 weeks ago in the draft, and now she's already getting the rub, already getting an endorsement from a Hall of Famer. Like, come on. And like the lemon on top of the tea would be like a victory over Becky Lynch. I'm not saying she has to help Trish win this feud, but if Zoe Stark does get a pinfall over Becky Lynch, even if it's just for one time only, that's going to do wonders for her career. That's going to boost her right up, to the, if not the main event, close to the main event. And, we haven't really been able to say that too much about, the talent from NXT that transitions from that brand to like a Raw or a SmackDown. I don't even think, if my calculations are correct, I don't even think like Bianca or Rhea got that type of push when they first arrived to the main roster. So that just goes to show how much management, particularly Triple H, believes in Zoe Stark. So I mean, hey, kudos to her, man. I hope that she takes full advantage of this, and hopefully they can make a new star out of her, because she definitely has all the requirements and all the potential to be that. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from this. Let's just hope that each week, it gets better and better between Lynch and Stratus, and hopefully too, um, somewhere in the midst of all of this, they get Becky some backup. 'Cause, you know, I know she's the man, or she portrays herself as that. I mean, it's a great character, but she's definitely gonna need, at least a partner to help her fend off Zoe and Trish. Because, one thing I don't want to see is Becky get beat down every week. So I don't know who the company could choose to pair with her and still make it look credible, but whoever it is, like, yeah, they need to do that soon. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see, what other match. Oh, hold on. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. Okay, we're back. So the next match that I want to talk about and review is, even though it was short, it was still very interesting, and that is Gunther and Mustafa Ali for the Intercontinental title. Um, I really like the way that they showcased Gunther in this match. I actually like the way that they showcased Ali too. Like, they let Ali get big head start, a big head start on Gunther. And that, to me, especially the way, let me say this, especially the way Ali has been booked over the past, what, year or two, for him to get all of this pageantry, being in his homeland and all of this other stuff, showing the video package of him, spending the day in the city, and all of this other stuff. For him to get all of this, and for him to start the match the way that he started, even though we know how it ended, like, that's a victory all in itself. Because, listen, besides maybe who, Ricochet or Sheamus, like you're not gonna find too many superstars, especially if they're not looked at as credible or on the level of Gunther. You're not gonna find as many superstars um, just getting the jump on Gunther the way that Ali did. Not only did Ali get the jump on Gunther, he actually was able to hit his finishing maneuver on Gunther as well, and damn near got the upset. So, like I said, they gave him a lot, but that's good because Ali definitely deserved it, and he has, to me, always been a highly underrated talent. I understand, they might have had trouble finding something creatively for him as far as a personality or a character on TV. But as far as like just performance inside the wrestling ring, that cat is second to none, man. He's always been like ever since his 205 live days. Like Mustafa Ali has never lacked for skill when it comes to the squared circle. It's just, he's kind of just gone through this stage of, trying to find the right fit for him character wise. And I think he might have stumbled upon something with this positive Ali type thing, this obnoxious, over the top, sarcastic type character. Um, so, yeah, I mean, up to this point, I love what they've done with Ali. Now, as far as where he goes in the future, that remains to be seen. And I'll get back to that in just a second. But got to talk about Gunther too, because Gunther looked really, really good in this match. He was just bullying Ali from pillar to post, you know, literally chopped him in the salami and just had his way with him. I mean, I know Ali got the early offense in and, probably surprised Gunther a few times in the match, but, Gunther is what, he says he is. I mean, I know certain fans, may get annoyed of hearing Ludwig Kaiser, doing the introduction of, him as the ring general, but you see why. I mean, it's not just words that are coming out of Kaiser's mouth. Like, it really is true. When Gunther steps through those ropes every single night, he is the ring general. Like, he is truly the master of the ring or a master of the ring, you know, which is why he is now the longest reigning, or let me back up. Not now, I should say. That's why he has become the longest reigning intercontinental champion of the modern day and a very dominant intercontinental champion because of what he does in the ring. And if you're not a believer or if you don't at least respect the style and the way that Gunther works in the ring, then you're just delusional. So, me personally, I mean, you've heard me say it, even with Dre here. Like, you've heard me say it on this podcast numerous times. I am a Gunther fan. I am an Imperium fan. I just love, the way that they carry themselves. I mean, they're not really like cocky, but they're supremely confident. Like, they know that they're good and they're going to tell you, but they're not going to be obnoxious with it. You know, they're going to say what they need to say. And then when the bell rings, they're going to show you and prove it to you. And by the end of the match, you're going to know that, yeah, Imperium is the real deal. Gunther is the ring general, and he is, a champion. So, yeah, man, Gunther just keeps getting better with time. I mean, there's really not too much to say. I mean, that guy is just amazing. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Like, Gunther is just amazing, and if he does not become a world champion by the end of 2023, I mean, I'm loving him as the Intercontinental Champion, but if he does not win at least um, the world title by the end of 2023, then I'm going to have to go and protest to Triple H on social media, because that guy is definitely world championship material. And when I say world champion, I'm talking about like actually world heavyweight champion. Like the gold belt that Seth just won on Saturday. Yeah, Gunther deserves to be wearing that very, very soon. So don't be surprised if he, I don't want him to necessarily lose the Intercontinental Championship right now, but I mean, I know it's inevitably going to happen. But whenever that does happen, I will not be upset, because that just means that it's time for him to take his rightful place in the World Heavyweight Championship picture. So that's that. Um, let's see what else. I guess I'll just go and just skim through Rhea versus Natty. I mean, there's not too much to break down here. It was a typical Rhea Ripley match. You know, she beat down Natty for a few minutes and then put her away with the Riptide 1, 2, 3. I mean, yeah, Natty got distracted by Dominic, but I mean, we all knew that was going to happen. That's what Dominic is out there for. So, like I said, it was a quick little squash match, if you want to call it that, from Rhea, and yeah, that's it. Rhea retains the SmackDown Women's Championship. I think we all knew that was going to happen. I mean, if you didn't, then you don't have common sense, and you're really not watching the same WWE that I am. So there you go. Um, I don't really know what to say about Natty. I think Natty is just at this point in her career there to elevate younger talent, which is not a bad thing. Natty has been a champion in WWE, so I don't think she's hurting for a championship reign this soon. So yeah, so Natty was just doing what she needed to do. As far as Rhea goes, I don't know. I don't know, who they could possibly build up or have next for Rhea, because I mean, Rhea's pretty much beating everybody. I mean, whether it's on Raw or SmackDown, I mean, she's pretty much cleaned out the division. So I don't know. Maybe maybe they call up somebody else from NXT later on. Maybe like a Roxanne Perez, or either Tiffany Stratton. Maybe, I don't know, but Rhea definitely needs like more opponents, because to me, it really doesn't make any sense for her to like clean out the division twice, because you're literally just doing the Vince McMahon thing, and we don't need to go through that. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It all depends on who they put in this Money in the Bank match for the women. That's another determining factor too. So we definitely got to keep our eyes open for that. And maybe the winner of the Money in the Bank, depending on when WWE plans to have that particular individual cash in on Rhea, then that's when things will pick back up. But as of right now, Rhea just, she'll just be biding her time, waiting on the next opponent. And speaking of the women, let's just go ahead and continue in that direction because we had another women's championship match, although this time there was actually a title change, and that was between Bianca Belair and Asuka. And yes, this was a WrestleMania rematch for those of you that didn't know. And I said maybe a couple of weeks ago, leading up to Night of Champions, that this match would be completely different from the WrestleMania match. And the reason I said so is because Asuka has gone through a character change, and that character change was going to show itself in this match. Now, the story of this rematch was that could Bianca avoid the mist? Because that was the focal point of this whole entire thing. Can Bianca avoid the mist? Now, she was able to in the first match at WrestleMania, but the second time around, unfortunately, she was not able to, which is what led to Asuka becoming the Raw Women's Champion once again. I want to say this is her second title reign. Yeah, I believe it is her second reign as Raw Women's Champion. So yeah, this match basically turned out the way that I thought it was going to. I knew somehow, some way, Asuka was going to do something dirty, and it was going to involve the Mist. And the way she actually ended up winning was very, very clever because I did not think about it's more than one way to use the mist. I was just thinking, like, well, okay, well, if she can't blow it in her face, then that's going to basically kill that whole idea. But I didn't think about, like, okay, if the mist is built up the way that it's supposed to be built up, which is, um, a deadly substance that can blind, you know, an individual, then you don't necessarily have to blow it in somebody's face for it to be effective, which is, you know, exhibited here. And Asuka timed this tactic perfectly because it was right at the end when Bianca was about to hit her signature move, the KOD, and Asuka, like, right in the nick of time, she was able to, I think she swallowed the mist, and then she was able to put some of the mist on her hand, and then she just basically raked Bianca across the face with it, hit her with two of her head kicks, and got the pin. And I think the reason why it was so shocking, because yes, while Asuka does use those rapid fire kicks a lot, I don't think any of us thought that it would actually be the finish to the match. I think we expected, okay, if she does use the mist, that'll be an easier setup for the Asuka lock, and Bianca will just tap out. But it actually ended up working out better that Not only was she able to rub the mist in Bianca's eyes, but she was able to nail her with not one, but two of her rapid fire kicks, knock Bianca unconscious, and get the pinfall. So, very well done. The finish of that match, very well done. Um, I definitely feel like, or at least I'll say I was. I don't know about any of you, but I'll just say for me, I think it was definitely time to get the belt off Bianca. I think Bianca has more than established herself, not only being the champion for what 412 or 20 something days that she was champion, but just as an overall WWE superstar. You know, she's undefeated at WrestleMania. Um, so I think the mission was complete. You know, I think it was time for, you know, the WWE Raw Women's Championship to, you know, go somewhere else, let somebody else, you know, further elevate the championship. And there's nobody better you could ask to be in that position than Asuka, because, like Bianca Belair, Asuka has proven that she can indeed do that. So I like the title change here. You know, I think this was a good time for it to change hands. And like I said, just the way that, you know, the title changed hands was very, very well done. So yeah, I don't think Bianca loses anything by losing the championship here. Um, I can't speak for her, but at the same time, there's a part of me that feels that, you know, maybe Bianca, you know, needs a little bit of a break, and you know what I'm saying. Wanted to get the title off her. You know, I don't know if she actually expressed that, but you know, she's been going 100 miles, 200 miles per hour. You know, since she won the championship back from Becky at WrestleMania last year. You know, she's been doing all these events and um, doing all of this media and press, and you know, just all of this rigorous traveling over the past year or two. You know, I think Bianca herself, if you got her in the room privately, would have told you, yeah, you know, it's time for me to take a load off and you know, slow it down a little bit, go and regroup, and come back and earn my way back to the championship. So yeah, I don't think either one of these women lost anything from this, you know. And I'll say this too. I definitely feel like Asuka needed this championship win. And I don't really say that about Asuka too much because, you know, whether it's a heel or a face, Asuka is going to be over. But I think in order to really establish this new, more dangerous, unpredictable character that she's portraying, I think she needed to win that Raw Women's Championship to solidify that. So I definitely feel like WWE made the right decision in putting the belt back on her. And I definitely feel like it's going to make this new heel character of hers that much more credible. So, um, as far as opponents for Asuka, whew, um, maybe you could do her and Becky Lynch because, correct me if I'm wrong, and y'all can, I don't think Asuka and Becky have ever faced each other for a championship. And if they have, it's probably been some years. I know they faced each other in singles competition. That I do know. But as far as for like a Raw Women's Championship or a SmackDown Women's Championship, I can't recall, at least over the past year or two, of Asuka and Becky facing off. So Hold on. There go these darn technical difficulties again. Hold on a second. I don't know what's going on with my computer today, but I guess it doesn't like me. But be that as it may. Um, so yeah, I definitely feel like depending on how this rivalry with Trish ends up, um, I could definitely see Becky being the next woman in line to face Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, or now that she's no longer a tag team champion, and I know a lot of people um, have brought up her name a lot lately. Um, Raquel Rodriguez. Um, I definitely feel like she could be a possible contender for Asuka. I think her and Asuka would definitely be great together. It'd be a perfect styles matchup. Um, Asuka being the smaller, quicker, more explosive striker, and then you've got the big, strong, tall Rodriguez that's got that power, but still has the athleticism as well. Like, yeah, I definitely feel like those two could have a go at it in the ring, and I think it would be a fire match. I really think so. Um, I dare say you could put that match on one of the big three pay-per-views. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just a possibility that I'm putting out there. Um, I don't know if Rodriguez is going to be considered for a Money in the Bank qualifier, but if she is, and if she actually gets in the match and wins it, then that possibility is going to turn into a reality. So I don't know, but I definitely can see a Raquel Rodriguez challenging Asuka here very, very soon for the Raw Women's Championship. Okay, let's see. Next match. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and just go right to the triple main events because yeah, I think those were the last two matches. Yeah, those were the last two matches. So the first, let's go with the first of the main events. The co-main event, I'll say, um, Cody versus Brock. Um, this match was a lot quicker than the match at Backlash, and I can understand why for a couple of reasons. One being the most obvious, that Cody's suffering the injury to Brock on Raw, and um, knowing that um, Cody was going to be limited, I kind of had a feeling that not only would this match not be that long, but in the back of my mind, I felt that Brock could possibly end up winning this match. And it turns out that was right, or I was right about that. Now, I had predicted that Cody would beat Brock again until what happened last week on Raw, which I did not see coming. And I think that was smart of WWE to do that. I think it definitely protected Cody and gave Cody, a reason why he would lose to Brock in this match or in this second match. So it was basically, Cody fighting from up underneath. I mean, that was the true story of it all. I mean, which makes sense because that's what makes Cody as great as he is. He is the ultimate underdog. He is the guy that has to fight from underneath because for some reason or another, the odds are always going to be against him, and it just seems like whoever he faces, it always seems like that person has the distinct advantage over him at first. But once they get in the ring, it seems like Cody always finds a way. In the 11th hour, at the last split second, it always seems Cody finds a way to come out on top. So that's what I think has made this rivalry in its brief time so exciting and intriguing at the same time is because, okay, if you're going against Brock Lesnar, if your name is not Bobby Lashley or Omos, then you're going to have to, really pull out all stops to beat this man because he is a beast, you know. As Pat McAfee would say, he's the alpha male of our species, you know, and he's a load inside the squared circle. So you got to do what you got to do against a guy like that, especially if you're a smaller guy like Cody. You're definitely gonna have to pull all of the tricks out of your bag, and that's what Cody did. I mean, Cody used the cast. I really like that Cody um, put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into this angle by wearing a cast, which I'm sure he did not have to do, but being that number one, I'm a Cody fan, like I am, and number two, knowing the type of guy Cody is as far as being a professional, if he's really invested in a feud or an angle, um, he's going to, do everything he can to make that angle or that feud the best it could possibly be. So it didn't surprise me, seeing Cody with the cast or what have you. So yeah, he tried, you know, uh, he tried to what's the word I'm looking for? He tried to take Brock out of the match the quickest way possible, and it almost worked. But Brock is just one tough hombre, man. That's why he's also been labeled as the most decorated combat athlete of all time because of his toughness. That's one of the reasons why he earned that nickname. So yeah, Cody tried to gain an advantage with the cast, but Brock was able to weather that storm and actually ended up making Cody pass out. And this was a very clever way to have Brock win this match because I've heard a lot of fans say on certain other podcasts that I've watched and listened to that they really didn't understand the finish and they really didn't understand how you can do a finish like that. I know I'm in the minority here when I say this, but I disagree. I think there is a way that you can do that ending and it be credible because it's like, okay, yes, you know, it does look ridiculous to the typical fan And it does look ridiculous to the fan that does not watch mixed martial arts. That, how can you make a guy go unconscious just from, a wrist lock? Well, let me let me put something on your mind. Let me put a brain drop in your mind. Okay. Now, that is very understandable. Okay. But let's look at it this way. This wasn't no ordinary man that was on top of Cody. Okay. This is a 6 foot, 6'5", 263 pound muscular Kodiak bear on top of him. Okay. Not only that, not only is he on top of him, but he's literally cranking on his arm with those huge I was about to say pythons. Why do I have Hogan on the brain? But those huge arms of Brock's and those huge hands were cranking and gripping on his arm backwards as hard as he possibly could, so to speak. So not only did Cody have to worry about Brock's weight being on top of him, but that grip of Brock's as well. And on top of that, he's already sweaty and exhausted at this point in the match. So if you're already tired and then you got to deal with the 6'5", 263 pound man on top of you, putting you in a submission hold, and there's absolutely no way for you to get to the ropes to escape, yeah, you probably are going to go unconscious. You probably are going to go unconscious. And you really can't compare that type of scenario to a UFC MMA fight because, first of all, nobody would apply the submission in that way in a real mixed martial arts fight. So you really can't compare that, you know? But in this case, in professional wrestling, yes, that's a very big possibility. And you can get away with that. You can. And like I said, it makes Brock, or I didn't even say this, but I should say that with this finish, not only does it keep Brock credible, but it also gains Cody more sympathy and more credibility as well, because he did not technically submit. He passed out from all of Brock's weight on top of him and the exhaustion of trying to get to the ropes to escape. Now, let's back up a little bit because I'm going to connect the dot on something to this particular finish. And that is that earlier in the match, when Brock applied the Kimura on Cody, Cody was actually able to escape. Now, remember, Brock Lesnar is on top of him. You know how big Brock is, you know how strong Brock is. But here's the difference. At that particular point in the match, when Brock had the Kimura on Cody, number one, Cody wasn't as sweaty, and he darn sure wasn't as exhausted. So he had a lot more energy to maneuver and move around to get to the ropes. But by the time Brock had applied it again, Cody had spent all of that energy. Yeah, all of that energy. He used all of that trying to escape this submission, and therefore that weakened him. And Brock knew that, which is why he went right back to it and put it on him again. But only this time, when he did it to where Cody could not get to the ropes. And he knew that if he had Cody weakened and exhausted, he knew that either Cody was going to tap or he was going to go unconscious. And the latter ended up happening, which is, he ended up going unconscious. So, I mean, let's not overthink this too much, okay? Like, there is some sense you can make out of that finish, all right? Like, it's not all lost on, you know, Cody going unconscious from Brock putting a submission hold on him. Now, let me say this before I go on to the next match. If this had been an ordinary man, if this had been, somebody like a Seth Rollins or AJ Styles or, a Ricochet or somebody like that, somebody who has the same size and physical stature as Cody, and they did this same finish, then yeah, that'd be ridiculous. Because it's like, okay, why is he passing out from a submission hold from somebody the same size as him? Now that would have been stupid. Yes, you could have been pissed off had it been, somebody that was the same size as Cody, but clearly Brock Lesnar is not the same size as Cody Rhodes. So that's why this finish is justifiable. Because I guarantee you, had that been a Seth Rollins, or AJ Styles, or Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, whoever that was putting that Kimura on him, I guarantee you Cody would have escaped and got to the ropes twice in that scenario. So you got to think outside the box, y'all. Like, don't be so literal. This is still professional wrestling, okay? This is entertainment. You know what I mean? Like, these these finishes for these matches are well thought of, okay? So let's just keep that in mind, okay? Don't try to let this go too far over your head, because that's what makes you frustrated. Is you think too much into these finishes. Just look at the logic of it, okay? Like, y'all got to chill out with that, for real. All right, so the main event, and probably the most talked about match and moment of the night, other than Seth and AJ, was the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championship match that featured Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Now, of course, we all know the story going into this match, and it's pretty much been the biggest story and the biggest feud of WWE over the past year, and that is the Bloodline. Particularly now, the animosity within the Bloodline. Now, we know leading up to this event, Roman had recently, I guess, dismissed his cousins, and was very upset at them, but only this time he actually let them know about it and confronted them on it, and basically decided that the Usos were the actual weak links of the group, in which they had lost both of their attempts twice to get the undisputed tag team titles back to the Bloodline. So Roman decided, I'm going to take matters into my own hands, and me and Solo are going to see if we can be the ones, quote unquote, to get the belts off of Sammy and Kevin. So, of course, the Usos did not take this too well. And it even transpired where Roman had confronted Jimmy personally because of, Roman being the character that he is. He wanted the Usos to, apologize and, you know, acknowledge him. And of course, Jimmy Uso did not take that as serious as he should have. And he basically got punked out by Roman. So um, that kind of led to, further animosity because, of course, nobody is better than Roman in the bloodline. Again, quotations. But that's where we are. That's where we were, and credit to WWE for making Sami Zayn look like a genius here because ever since WrestleMania, Sammy had constantly been warning the Usos that this day was going to come. That the more you fail, Roman's going to get fed up with it, and he's going to try to embarrass you and make you feel less than. And of course, the Usos, being brainwashed and naive as they have been this whole time, I think they finally saw the light, or at least took into consideration, like, maybe KO might be right. Maybe he's not trying to manipulate us. And maybe Sammy might have been right too. And it turns out they were. Because the way this match ended, I mean, now let's get this straight. I did see Owens and Zayn retaining. I didn't know how they were going to, but I predicted that they would retain their titles here. But what I did not predict was um, the help, the unexpected help that they would get in retaining their championships. And I got to tell you, um, when Jimmy Uso turned on Roman, I don't usually, get too emotionally invested in the WWE matches, but I got to admit, this one, I was definitely hollering to the top of my lungs, fist pumping. And who would have thought? Who would have thought it would have been Jimmy, of all people, to cost Roman a match? I mean, yeah, we obviously, would think Jay would be the one to do that, but nobody really thought about Jimmy. And I think that's a good little wrinkle in this story, because Jimmy's always kind of been, the peacemaker, the one that just goes with the flow and, likes to keep everybody together. But after Roman punked him out on SmackDown 2 weeks prior, I think Jimmy, as a man, just kind of got fed up and was like, hey, I'm a man too. Like I got some pride and some respect about myself too. And yeah, even though we family, I ain't gonna let you, just keep mushing me like that. So he just Roman finally, pushed, one of his cousins over the edge, and he actually did something about it. Unlike Jay, you know. And I'll admit, in this whole scenario, I thought Jimmy was the punk. I ain't gonna even lie. I thought Jimmy was the punk. I thought, since, Jimmy seemed to be, the one most, uh, I guess, aroused by Roman and hang on his every word, I never thought Jimmy would get to this stage where he would do what he did. But apparently I was wrong, and I'm glad I was. So basically, what led up to that moment was, the Usos came down to help Roman, which you thought they would because they're trying to earn his trust and respect back. And you kind of saw that coming too. It happens in every Roman match. The referee, gets hit sometimes accidentally, but the ref is gonna take some type of damage in the match. And once that happens, either Solo or the Usos will appear. So the Usos came out and attacked Kevin and Sammy, and I think they hit Sammy with a super kick. No, they hit Kevin with a super kick because they took him out on the outside. Then they got inside the ring, started beating down Sammy for a little bit, and then they were about to take him out with a super kick, but it ended up backfiring because they ended up super kicking Solo. And unfortunately, while Roman was, unconscious for the time being, he did see this happen. And then we all know what happened next. He got in the ring, started, you know, chewing out the Usos again, saying, "What are you doing? I don't need your help. Why are you here?" And the Usos, again, just trying to, earn their cousin's trust and respect back, was just trying to help him out. But again, Roman was being ungrateful and trying to make him feel worthless. And once again, he tried to punk out Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy Uso just had enough and, just kicked Roman all the way back to Pensacola. Now, the first super kick we all thought was just out of pure reflex. It was just a natural human reaction. But when Jimmy said, after Jay asked him, what are you doing? You know, that's our cousin or whatever. He was like, I'm doing what you should have done a long time ago. And then when he laid that second super kick in, that's when I got excited. So basically, um, after this is done, Kevin hits the stunner. Sammy ends up hitting the haluva kick. They get the pin. They ended up retaining the championships. And that's how Night of Champions ended, ladies and gentlemen. So, wow. Wow, wow, wow. All I'm going to say, without, going into too much, because I want to see what else is going to happen myself, tune in to Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow, y'all. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. Tune in to Friday Night SmackDown because I believe this Friday, tomorrow night, is probably going to be, no, I'm not going to say probably, it is going to be the most anticipated SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown in a very long time. One, because they're celebrating Roman's 1,000 days as champion. And number two, he's going to be thinking about what happened this past Saturday. And I can only imagine, what the Usos or Jimmy Uso is going to do. So that's all I'm going to say is just watch SmackDown tomorrow and let's all find out what's going to happen going forward. Because I guarantee you it's going to be good, as Uncle Booker T would say. All right. Um, Now let's transition over to AEW Double or Nothing. Again, much like Night of Champions, great event. And, they too had some awesome moments in this event. A new champion was crowned. And like I said at the very beginning, we found out some truths that we have been waiting to find out for a very long time about a certain individual. But we'll get to that here in a little while. And I'm going to kind of run through certain matches because I really want to touch on the main event or the co-main events for a little while before we wrap it up here. So the first match that kicked off the pay-per-view was the 20-man blackjack battle royal for Orange Cassidy's international championship. It came down to Big Bill, Orange Cassidy, Swerve Strickland, and Penta. I think. Yeah, I think those were the final four. Big Bill looked very impressive in this match. Had some really good eliminations. I really love what AEW is doing with him. I think they're using him quite nicely. I hope that continues, and I hope before 2023 is over, he finds himself in bigger marquee matches, possibly competing for a championship as well. Um, I'll definitely say they sold me on the fact that Swerve Strickland was about to win this match and shock everybody and win the title here. Um, but Orange Cassidy, like he said in the promo, he always finds a way, and he did. Although I do think that next Wednesday we might be seeing Orange Cassidy as AEW International Champion for the last time. I just get that feeling that Swerve Strickland probably might be your new international champion by the end of next Wednesday. That's just what I feel. Then we had the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. This was really good. Um, I like that they, used the weapons. They fought on the outside. The little Britt Baker cameo was really, really good. Even, having her, get some licks in on Jericho with the kendo stick. I thought that was really cool. Um, I liked how they had Adam Cole utilize the chain on his leg to do the the boom. I was gonna call it the last shot, but that was his NXT days. But he was able to hit the boom on Jericho and beat Jericho again. So I think with this second win, I think this is no doubt justifying that Adam Cole will probably be the next guy to challenge MJF for the world title, the AEW world title. But we'll see. We also had the trios match, the open house match with House of Black versus the Acclaimed. This was a very fun match, very fast paced. Both teams showcased, some really cool stuff. I really love the moment where Malachi was in his, little Indian style pose, and um, Anthony Bowens, was mocking him and did the scissor thing that they do. I thought that was really cool. I loved how, they, portrayed Anthony Bowens in that moment of, not being scared of Malachi Black and, that little mind game that he was playing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I really have enjoyed, these open house uh, trios championship matches from the House of Black. So I definitely hope they keep this going for as long as they possibly can, and I hope they keep those belts on the House of Black as long as they possibly can, because they are definitely great champions. Um, I loved how Malachi Black hit the spin wheel kick on Billy Gunn. Um, Basically caught him off guard and just hit it out of nowhere. Um, so yeah, very good match. Very good match. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between these three teams, or these two teams rather. And I think we're gonna get it. I think we're definitely gonna get it. If the promo by the Acclaim um, told us anything on Dynamite, I definitely feel like we're gonna get House of Black Acclaimed too. So I'll definitely look forward to that. Um, the ladder match for the TNT Championship between Wardlow and Christian. Um, I'll say this was a solid match. It seemed very basic to me. Um, I think this was more so a showcase for Wardlow. Um, I made a prediction video, and for some reason, it would not post on the Ring Psychology Facebook page. But I'll just tell y'all, I did predict Wardlow to win this match if he could keep Luchasaurus at bay, and it turns out that he was able to keep Luchasaurus at bay, but only because of Double A Arn Anderson. But I really love the fact that they had Wardlow taking risk in this match. He wasn't just strictly relying on his strength and his power. We actually got to see, some different layers of Wardlow. Um, One thing I will say, as far as constructive criticism, um, I don't like Wardlow trying the same high risk maneuver two times over in a match. Let's cut that out, Tony Khan or whoever the agents are. Like, I don't need to see Wardlow, trying to, um, you know, attempt a certain move only but so many times because it makes it look, really generic. So if you missed the Swanton the first time and you wanted him to do a big move off the ladder, I mean, have him hit a splash or like a leg drop or a 450 or something like that. I mean, he's athletic enough to pull it off, but I don't need to see him, trying to attempt two or three Swanton bombs in a match. Like that's just to me, taking away his credibility. But with that being said, he was able to hit the power bomb on Christian and climb the ladder and retrieve the belt. So Wardlow ends up retaining the TNT Championship. I said on my predictions video that this would more than likely lead to a match between him and Luchasaurus. So I think that's where we're going next. Um, and another thing that I forgot to mention, the Arn Anderson biting the thumb, that was kind of ridiculous. I'm just gonna say, like, they could have kept that out, or if they were gonna have Arn Anderson do something, I mean, hit him in the gut with a pipe or something, or have him do a spine buster on Luchasaurus on the ladder, or hit a DDT. Do a Arn Anderson, signature maneuver, but don't have this guy biting this guy's thumb. Like, that's, I don't know, that just didn't seem like very Arn Anderson esque to me. So that's really my only thing about that. But going on, um, we had the AEW Tag Team Championships featuring FTR and Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal. I definitely thought this was the most entertaining match of the night. Um, I kind of expected the interference the way that it happened. I knew Karen Jarrett was going to get involved. Um, I also said on my predictions video that I did that the outcome of this match would determine, what Mark Briscoe was going to do. And I actually really like the way that they set this up because what happened? Jeff Jarrett got the guitar, and I believe he was going to hit Dax with the guitar, but Dax ended up moving out of the way and he ended up hitting Mark Briscoe. So Mark Briscoe is out for about a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes, basically the rest of the match. And that's when we saw Karen Jarrett actually hit Aubrey Edwards with a guitar, which was something that I did not expect. But it was very cool just because, you really don't see, you know, a woman, especially like a woman referee, taking that type of spot. in a match. I think that's the first time we've ever seen a woman like get hit with a guitar or, take like a real heavy shot like that. I mean, most of the time, we've seen women, hit each other with chairs and garbage cans and kendo sticks, but I don't think we've ever seen a female wrestler hit another female wrestler with a guitar. So I think that was good. I definitely think that was good. But going back to the ending of the match, so Mark Briscoe gets laid out by Jeff Jarrett with the guitar. Jeff tries to wake him up. When Mark finally does come around, Jeff Jarrett is pissed off, obviously, because he had Dax Harwood pinned after he hit the stroke, and there was nobody to count. So he ends up shoving Mark Briscoe, and I think he ended up slapping him too. And just out of pure instinct, Mark Briscoe ended up slapping him back. And I think FTR hits the big rig, Shatter Machine, and gets the pinfall. So this was very entertaining. I even like the way they use Sanjay Dutt here, even with Sanjay Dutt trying to stop Aubrey Edwards from going inside the ring. I think that was very entertaining as well. I mean, I don't have anything against Jeff Jarrett or Jay Lethal. I think, they're two very good performers. I think just like everybody else, I just don't need to see Jeff Jarrett in particular on my TV every week. You know, I think we can do without him on TV. I mean, he's good, for every once in a while, but, we don't need to see him every week on television. Jay Lethal, on the other hand, I definitely feel like he can be on TV a lot more, especially in a singles role as well. So, but FTR retains the titles, and there you go. Um, what was after that? I think it was the TBS Championship, right? This is one of the moments everybody was talking about. So Jade and Taya Valkyrie, that was the original planned match at first. Um, they go after each other, and then of course Jade gets the win, hits her with the jaded, and then after that, Mark Sterling, gets on the mic and talks about how she's 60-0 now, and you know, for some reason or another, issues an open challenge. And you kind of had a feeling somebody was going to come out and challenge Jay for the title. When he said that, you kind of had a feeling that a debut was going to happen or somebody was going to return. Never did I think that it was going to be Chris Statlander. I mean, you could fantasize about it, but you didn't know because we didn't know that all this time she was fully healthy and ready to go back in the ring. So basically, that's what happened. Chris Statlander comes out, answers the challenge. The roof blows off the place, and Statlander beats Jade clean in the middle, ends her winning streak, and she's now your new TBS champion. So there you go. So not only has Bianca Belair had her historic title reign ended, but now Jade is the latest to have hers ended too. So that just goes to show you both women's divisions are definitely going in different directions now. Um, and then of course we had the Four Pillars match. I mean, we knew this was going to be a banger. We knew it was going to be fast paced, a lot of near falls, a lot of big moves, and we obviously knew the result as well. Um, we knew that MJF was going to try something dastardly, and that's exactly what he did by using the championship belt. on Darby Allin as Darby Allin was going for the coffin drop on Jungle Boy, I believe. And then MJF goes back to the old front headlock and covers Darby Allin, retains the championship, and escapes Las Vegas. So we kind of knew what was going to happen. So I don't know why anybody would be surprised. But yeah, MJF is, you know, he is the hottest guy in the company right now. So you already know he ain't losing that belt anytime soon. So that's that. And then the end saw, or the main event, excuse me, saw the Anarchy in the arena match between the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. Not too much to really break down about this match either. I mean, it was just pure violence. I mean, we saw, you know, John Moxley get kicked in the face with the exploded or exploding, whatever it was. I mean, basically, he got kicked in the head with a shoe bomb. That's what I'm gonna call it, a shoe bomb, which was really, really cool. Like, if you look back at the highlights, but yeah, we saw that. We saw Matt Jackson, you know, get put in a pile of thumbtacks barefoot. Um, I mean, we pretty much saw what, you know, we knew was gonna happen in an Anarchy in the arena match. I mean, you know, everybody was gonna be fighting in different parts, you know, of the building. Even the lead singer of the band that was playing John Moxley's theme song, you know, he even, you know, got attacked in this match. So that just goes to show you how wild it was. But in spite of all that, it wasn't the match in particular, or it wasn't just the match that everybody was talking about. It's more so what happened at the end. And that was that, yes, Kinosuke Takeshita turned on Kenny Omega and ended up costing the Elite the Anarchy in the arena match. So we all know now, it is official. Kinosuke Takeshita has joined up with Don Callis. It's no more of a if, or if he should. He has. He is, you know, the new protege of Don Callis. And of course, Don Callis let us know this Wednesday night, last night on Dynamite, in a very, very good promo, by the way. And he cut another great promo too on the what was it? Um, the Road to Double or Nothing, or some type of special leading up to Double or Nothing. I don't know, but I watched the promo twice. Masterful, masterful. So yeah, the saga continues. So we know that the Blackpool Combat Club now have an ally in Kinosuke Takeshita. So as far as the Elite goes, we know they're gonna go get some help, but the question is who. And I know the obvious that everybody's thinking, but at the same time, you know, the Elite always has a knack for surprising us. So yes, while we very well could see Kazuchika Okada or Kota Ibushi on AEW television, I mean, they could go in another direction, but I don't know. But the only thing that I do know is that this rivalry just got better. So I can't wait for the next couple of months And I will say this: Forbidden Door is coming up, and if we get Takeshita versus Okada at Forbidden Door, oh yeah, oh yeah. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was your 2023 WWE Night of Champions AEW Double or Nothing review. Um, I'm going to go ahead and bring this episode to a close. I hope you all have enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like and follow Ring Psychology on Facebook. If you want to follow me personally, I am Livis _1, the word ONE _living on Instagram. On TikTok, I am Special K _0788. And of course, on Facebook in general, I am George Kennebrew. My last name is spelled KENNEBREW. If you want to follow Dre Cole, you can follow him on Instagram at I am _Dre Cole. Same thing with TikTok. Same thing with Facebook. Well, Facebook is just Dre Cole, but Instagram and TikTok is I am Dre Cole. All right. So um, don't forget to tune in to Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow night to see what happens with Roman and the Bloodline. Um, like I said, today I was going solo. Just wanted to come on here and at least, give y'all a broadcast. I would rather do that than us not put anything out at all. And then y'all asking us questions like, where y'all at? Why y'all ain't do nothing? So I'm representing the team today. So I thank you all for tuning in and watching. And next week, we will definitely be back in full force. Me and Dre, and possibly Jay Anderson as well, the third member of Ring Psychology. So don't miss it because it's going to be good. All right, I'm gone. Two fingers up.